Okay, we're good.
Oh, okay. She just texted me someone walked in the door, so she's probably going to be
Oh,
on.
does anybody have the preamble to read, Jeff?
It was on the top of the agenda.
Yep, I can pull it up.
I wonder if I have a different agenda.
Di, I'm pulling it up. Sorry, I had it open and closed it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a
Oh,
wrong.
yeah, I have the 312 one in front of me.
Yeah, right, but today's the 19th.
Let me see if I can just pull it from the.
Jeff, did you send an updated agenda around?
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, you know what?
I don't think I have it.
Let me see if I can share this real quick.
I've got. Okay, I've got it open.
Oh,
You want me to read it?
do you mind?
Nope. So this is from the agenda, Central Mass Veterans Service District meeting. Today is March 19th, 2024. It is now 9:07. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting will be conducted via remote means. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so in the following manner. There is a Zoom link printed in the agenda. Participation by phone, a number is also printed in the agenda, and the meeting ID and passwords are provided.
Okay, and then we'll just, I guess at this point, I'll just state your name and just so that we can confirm that we can all be heard. Jeff,
Jeff Farrell here.
okay, Justin,
Justin Dobson here.
William Blake,
William Blake here.
Ashley,
Ashley Gerstle here.
and Kim Foster,
Kim Foster.
and Diane Waffle here. Okay. All right, it's all yours, Jeff.
Okay, so let me share my screen here. All right, so the first topic is approving the previous meeting minutes. Do you want me to share it on the screen, or does everyone have the copy?
I have it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think you need to share it.
Any questions, comments?
I don't think so. I'll move to approve the meeting minutes from the December 12th, 2023 meeting as presented.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
And a roll call vote for remote
Oh,
meeting,
yes,
correct?
yes, roll call vote.
Foster, aye.
Waffle, aye.
Blake, aye.
Upson, aye.
Okay, minutes approved.
All right. Second is the district performance review update. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Let me get the slideshow going here. Okay. So how do I move this little box? It's in the way. Okay. Oop. All right. These are the overview of what we're going to cover in the review. Some of the demographics, unemployment info, spending by town, operational budget, VA payments by community, Executive Office of Veteran Service updates, the website, priority of work, outreach, and highlights. So, as of right now, we have 25 total Chapter 115 claims. I am working on 2 new ones, one for Westboro and one from, well, the 5 in Grafton, one new one, I'm just waiting to be approved. And the Northborough and Shrewsbury are remaining the same, although one will be transferring from Shrewsbury to Worcester beginning next month. That just happened the other day. Since I've started, before I updated this, I've added 3 new claims, but that will now be going to 5. There have been a few deaths of clients since I started. 3 total. One was in right after I started, but both one of the deaths, the veteran had moved into a nursing home and was removed from benefits at that point. We have 3 veterans who are not retirement age and are on work plans. I'll get into more of that on the next slide. One veteran is actively applying for multiple positions. He has some health issues. So it's trying to find some work outside of his background of employment. So trying to get into some kind of a lower impact career. When I do work with these veterans, the Mass Hire Central Mass Worcester office is excellent. They're actually going to be partnering with the EOVS to create some more job fairs and training opportunities with this off-base transition training. That's for active duty military coming home to help transition smoothly from active duty, but also veterans who need some resume building workshops to help look for that next step career or get back into the workforce after whatever, transitioning from homeless or some substance abuse issues, but they can also get that type of veteran back on their feet. And if there's any questions along the way, feel free to interrupt me. All right, so spending by town. The chapter 115 numbers were updated. These are our current numbers up through March. Each town is well inside of the budget. The chapter 115 spending will not go over. Our flags have been ordered.
Sorry, just to confirm. So this is the total less the reimbursement, correct? Or is this the town's portion? Is this total spending or the
This is total
portion?
spending.
Okay.
I haven't got into the reimbursement yet. I know as I've been talking to the treasurers, they're starting some they've been certifying along the way. So I can update with it would be basically with 75% of this would be coming back.
Right. Has any of that been submitted or received?
Not to me. I know it's happening. The VS7s are being signed off. I'll follow up on how much we've actually received back.
Okay. I think timing wise, just trying to get as much of that buttoned up so it's received within the fiscal year. I know it's only March, but
Yep.
The end of June will be here quickly.
No, I do know Grafton received a refund. The state realized they under reimbursed, so there was a payment sent to catch up. That's the only thing I've heard from the state. I haven't talked to the treasurers yet about if we're actually getting the correct amount back. All right. So our flags have been ordered. They should be getting delivered late April. Those are the amounts in each town. The price did increase 10 cents per flag. But this is 100% reimbursable by the state. All right. So this is our line so far. The professional and tech caught me off guard a little bit. I know we have the money to cover going over that line. I think the cell phone bill was a little higher than I anticipated. It's on average about $98 to $100 a month with 2 lines. But the employee training line has not been touched. Office supplies, we did have to get a few. We needed a new chair in one office. I got a table cover for any outreach events we go to. And then the clothing we just ordered came out of the other supplies. That was $243.57. And both Ashley and I do have some invoices to submit for dues. It'll be about $170 total. Questions? And pretty much the only open district expenses are the cell phone right now. There should Vetrospect and Cumulus Global are both paid. So the only ongoing expense would be the cell phone.
Now that we're speaking of expenses, Northborough has the outstanding fiscal 23 that we're gonna bring to town meeting as a prior year bill. So that will be coming in April.
All right. If there's no more questions, we can
Nope.
move on.
Going.
Oh. All right. So VA claims, this falls into a little bit of our priority of work. I'd say VA claims takes up probably a good amount of our time. Ashley, if you'd agree. There are 3 different types of claims a veteran. This may be old info, but I figured it was a good time for a little bit of review. The disability compensation is strictly for a veteran. That links a service-connected condition, either an illness or a orthopedic injury, overuse. They file that for a tax-free payment from the VA. If this just happened, a veteran passed away before they could even go for an exam, but if they had started the process, the family could be back paid from the date it was submitted and then approved. They would back pay the family to the date it was approved if the veteran passed away in the middle of that. The benefits to a disability claim, it gets you, if a veteran is over the income limit for just healthcare, you're automatically approved for healthcare with a 0% rating. A lot of people think 0% is bad, but it does acknowledge it as service connected. It just doesn't come with a payment. And then if they're rated at 10% or higher, they can file for a property tax exemption in their town under clause 22. It's just clause 22. 22E is if you're 100%. I just realized that the other day. Then you have, say you served your time and you didn't have any conditions that you developed, you can apply for a non-service connected pension. These are usually lower payment, and there is an income and asset check. They have to have served during a wartime period approved by the VA. The one that gets a little tricky is Vietnam. We were involved in Vietnam from 55 to 75, but you had to have been in Vietnam from 55 to 64 to have that count as wartime. They don't count a house, but you have to have under roughly $150,000 in assets of 401ks, money in the bank, to be eligible. A spouse can apply for it as long as they have not remarried. And then on top of the pension, there's aid and attendance that is extra money to put towards assisted living or in-home medical care. There's a form that a physician needs to sign off on. The pensions are the hardest claim we deal with because there's about 10 forms that need to be filled out. They need to provide bank statements. The physician needs to sign off. A caregiver needs to sign off. It's just time consuming. But it is a tax-free payment. And then for just the spouses, there's DIC, Dependent Indemnity Compensation, or a survivor pension. DIC is if your cause of death is ruled to be service connected. Lately, the PACT Act is changing Agent Orange conditions, so widows or widowers of Vietnam veterans would get half of the 100%. There's no income check for it, but they'd also be eligible for a complete property tax exemption in the town. And then the spouse can also apply for the veteran annuity through the state, and that's a $2,000 payment, $1,000 twice a year, biannually. All right. In 2023, the VA releases this every year. This is the amount that was put into the local economies from the VA. And this includes any type of, whether it's DIC, a burial benefit, disability, pension. This is what is going into our community. So there's quite a lot of veterans benefiting from these payments. All right, an update from the Executive Office of Veteran Services. The big bill right now is the HERO Act. It's an acronym. It's honoring and empowering. I forget the exact name, but it's going to increase the benefits in the state. A lot of it is already happening as a executive order from the secretary. This is just going to sign into law a lot of what they are already doing. It's trying to align the veteran definition with the federal definition, because it is, some people don't realize what the definition, they think, oh, I served in the military, I'm a veteran. But if you were in the National Guard, you're not considered a federal veteran unless you deployed. So they want to change Chapter 115 eligibility to National Guardsmen, some fertility benefits for same-sex couples. Currently, the VA will not do IVF for 2 females. The RMV wants to remove the vanity plate fee and create a women veteran sticker. This caused some of the biggest debate. The vanity plate fee used to go to the soldiers' home. So people are asking, well, why isn't the money going to that? The new veterans home says it's fully funded, and you're still able to donate to it. But at some of the debates they're having at the State House, this gets the biggest discussion. the Chelsea Veterans Home is up and running. They've moved veterans into their care units and long-term housing. Holyoke will be underway soon of matching what is in Chelsea, and they want to improve on the care that goes in there. Our website, I'm receiving feedback from a few people that I've been able to change a few things, hopefully make it a little bit more easier to navigate. I was able to get new links on the graphic link buttons. And then it was also some of the feedback I got was, well, I open up the page, there's a picture of Shrewsbury, but I'm from Westboro. How do I know this is my website? So I put some language under the office locations. It would be a pretty big undertaking to change that banner. Does anyone have any?
Yeah, I mean, I think that ship has sailed because of the way they structure their fees and all of that. I think maybe what that is an indicator that the idea, we can maybe do more to promote the district as a district so that people understand that it serves 4 communities.
And I have recently posted a few items in the community spotlight section. I think I have a pretty good grasp of how to make that active. There aren't a lot of subscribers to it, so it's just there if people are looking for info. The last time I checked, there were a lot of old email addresses that had subscribed to some of those, so that might be another way to push the word out through the towns, the local media, to say sign up for your town's spotlight, and you'll get a link if there's a article posted.
I mean, I wonder if we just need to be more direct and have something immediately, right now, when you go to the page, maybe something right there that says, we're here to serve the communities of, and it just needs to be that. So I'm happy to work with you. Owen's out this week, but maybe let's touch base on that.
Okay. Yeah, so there was a veteran from Shrewsbury that was invited to the State of the Union address for Congress McGovern. He was at the meeting, got to meet the secretary of the VA, got a tour of the Senate building, so that was a big deal for him.
Yeah. That's a great thing for the spotlight.
All right. Any other questions on the website? All right. Oop. So our priority of work, I would say the VA takes up a good amount of time, but Chapter 115, when we get those requests, it's, you have to put a few things to the side burner. Lately, like we've had 2 or 3 new veterans emerge looking for benefits. So we try to follow the 10-day window of getting their application in. A lot of times it's hard getting their documents. We can be as organized as possible, but if they're not communicating back to us, that's where the delays happen. I have been working on our closeouts for the towns for our reimbursement. There's a new system that will, if you're over 60 days from closing out a month, they start sending emails to remind you to close it out. But I feel like I've been pretty good about, and if I can't close something because it's open, I'll communicate it to the treasurer, and it hasn't been an issue yet. And we've been staying on returning phone calls within 24 hours. This is, the cell phones are a good help that people can get a hold of us immediately rather than leaving a voicemail waiting for us to call. So that's a helpful tool. All right. Outreach. This is one thing I feel that we can increase on. Every time I talk to a veteran, they don't know a spouse might be eligible for the benefits. I think there's probably a good number of either widows or widowers out there that don't know they have benefits. So I want to try to identify how we can get the message out to them. The coffee hour last month was a success. There was just about every town present at the meeting. There's about 15 to 20 veterans that attend each month. It's a time frame that you're going to get the retired crowd. 10 a.m. on a Wednesday. It's tough to get a younger veteran there. But we have lined up at least a couple months of speakers. And there was a donation from a group to provide the coffee and donuts. So the Legion is set for about a year of funding to provide the beverages. And then one thing on my agenda is to plan some kind of summer event. I think Kim, the last time we spoke, it was connecting the different generations, having a younger, family, and maybe some older veterans who might feel a little isolated or not as engaged, get everybody out together and just have a cookout or not, something not very organized, just to let people mingle and talk to each other.
Great.
All right. So a few highlights from the year. There are 2 Civil War veterans who had unmarked graves that we've been able to submit VA grave markers for. There is, I believe, the Grafton marker, the Sons of the Union want to attend when it's installed. I'll send out some info on that when the date happens. We just submitted the request for that, so it usually takes a couple months for the stone to get delivered. And I know with, the ground might be a little soft, but most of the cemeteries wait until the spring to install. So it'll still be a little ways away. The Grafton Trustees of Soldiers and Sailors was awarded an $8,000 grant from the state to create a second Vietnam Veterans Honor Roll. One veteran and longtime trustee member had been working on this for a long time. It was identified that names were missing, not by any wrongdoing, just when they asked for names to be submitted, people had moved. There wasn't the database from the state. We can just search and find anyone who enlisted out of Grafton. So it's nice that this is going to get completed. And then the World's Best Coffee Hour will be an ongoing monthly meeting, the 3rd Wednesday of every month. So I'm looking forward to helping out get this off the ground. And that's my presentation.
Great. I think that's helpful. I think one of the things, having the updated, I think having the updates on the case counts is helpful, and just being able to get a sense of sort of where you're spending your time so that we can support that.
Okay. All right. Next up on the agenda was communication procedures. Part of the idea came of this. I had recently heard from other towns that someone was calling, looking to record you, asking how we would respond to different issues mainly related to Chapter 115. I think there was another issue in a town where someone felt they were being discriminated, and they were calling surrounding towns, trying to use it as evidence. So just try to streamline our message, when we do get public records requests or, these weird phone calls.
So did you develop a procedure?
Well, Ashley and I talked, I think our standard response to any Chapter 115 related thing is we follow the Mass General Law, and do what EOVS approves us to. I mean, there's no discrimination. I think, I would be open to any input if we want to draft an actual policy or procedure.
Does
Well, I guess I'm confused. I'm not understanding what's the request over the phone, because it's not a public records request, would be a request that's specifically seeking documents.
Right.
If
Right.
someone is calling and engaging on the phone, like, what's the nature of their request?
Yeah, from that specific situation, I think they were asking policy questions of how we would handle, if I'm divorced. I don't think there's all right, maybe I'm just, if we know we have a standard answer of, we're not going to take what if questions.
Okay, because that's what I was going to get to.
Yeah.
It seems like everything is probably so nuanced that if you have
Right.
someone who's potentially going to qualify, that your approach is to invite them in and go
Right.
through it. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I think
no,
I cut a little off.
I don't think we have to draft the whole policy.
Well, Jeff, you mentioned that you would reference the EOVS guidance, and
Yes.
do they have like a one pager or sort of an easy to consume document already created that we could just link to on our website or something like that?
I don't know if there's a one page. There is a definition of Chapter 115 on their website, which is linked on ours as well. I can look through it, and I know there's the Harvard Law School they run the benefit finder or benefit questionnaire. So there's like a little survey you can take to see if you're eligible for Chapter 115. I found it's a little inaccurate, so, I did it on this quiz and it says I'm going to get $2,000 a month. And then you put in their real numbers and they're only getting 400. But there are some different tools out there that I can look into more.
Okay.
But
my thought is just if they exist, there's no need to reinvent the wheel if we can just kind of point them in the right direction.
Yeah. No, the Mass General Law pages they're long. I haven't seen a shortcut of it yet.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Kim. It's hard to engage in hypotheticals. So I think you could frame it as, I'd like to meet with you one-on-one to help you maximize your benefits. Because as you outlined, there's different parameters you need to meet for every single benefit. So if you frame it as, I appreciate your question, but I can't really get into hypotheticals. I'd like to set up a meeting with you and go over your benefit eligibility.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Mm.
All right. So next on the agenda is Memorial Day planning. I've had multiple meetings in Westboro with the planning. Shrewsbury, there is a meeting scheduled, I believe, next week to start the planning process. In Northborough, I've spoken with the the Burroughs Cares for Troops crew a little bit about the event. This year, Ashley and I are going to be in Westboro and Shrewsbury, and then we will go back to Veterans Day in Northborough and Grafton. So it's going to be every year the two communities get a Memorial Day and a Veterans Day, and then we'll flip flop. We had a message from a company in Northborough who started a veterans group. They want to help volunteer placing flags. So I'm going to get them the dates when that all happens. In Grafton, I know the Legion and the VFW will take the lead planning the Memorial Day event. I'll reach out to them soon to see how I can help. They all ran very smoothly last year, so I expect the same.
Jeff, just to circle back on the flag deliveries,
Yep.
is it one delivery, or is each community getting their flags delivered?
So I asked Mass Corps to deliver them to Grafton,
Okay,
and then I'm going to distribute them
Gotcha.
around.
okay, great.
They were supposed to come to Westboro last year, and they tried to go under the bridge, so they stopped, and I met them over by Arturo's. So I figured this year meet them somewhere where it's easy, and I'll spread them around. They would have been on the news if they'd have stirred the truck. That was it for the agenda, other than any other discussions, questions?
I think I'm good.
Jeff, would it be possible for you to circulate that PowerPoint to the members
Sure.
of the district, just so we have it as a reference?
Sure. And I can, can you put, when you share minutes, would it be worth putting it on to the clerks?
You
Or
don't
is
have
that-
to attach it to the minutes, but you definitely need to reference documents used. So at the bottom of the minutes, if you look at a couple of other samples, you just have to list documents referred to during the meeting, and you would list
Okay.
that in PowerPoint. Yep.
And Jeff, are you posting the minutes in all communities
Yes,
with the town clerk's office?
I will send them the ones we just approved
Mhm.
today. And I think it was, I think Debbie in Westboro, because we're a district, oh no, Andy Dowd told, we might be able to just share them on our district page. Or is it still worth sharing in all 4 communities?
I think if it's easy enough, we have a page for veterans that is agendas minutes, so
Okay.
in Northborough anyways, I think.
No, it's easy enough to send it.
Yeah.
It's all email. So,
Okay.
Okay.
all right.
Do we have our next meeting date set?
I believe so. It was.
Trying to get to my calendar.
I mean,
Just figure we could maybe confirm that.
June 11th, second Tuesday. Does that sound right?
Yep, that still works for everybody.
What date is it?
June 11th.
Yes, that's fine.
Would we be looking to do that meeting in person?
I'm good with either.
Just if we're looking to do it in person, I would ask if we could move it to either Monday or Wednesday, that week.
Okay.
Just because
I-
Tuesdays I'm going to be remote for the foreseeable future.
I think remote works unless anybody
Okay.
feels strongly that we need to meet in person.
no, other than those budget meetings, I think that was helpful meeting in person, but
Yeah.
I think this type of meeting, Zoom is fine.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so I'm happy to host it again,
Okay, perfect.
and I'll send out a meeting link as it gets closer. Is that
Yeah.
Better
Yeah.
for everybody? Okay. All right, so it's June, I'm sorry.
11.
June 11th at 9. Okay,
All right.
thanks, everybody.
All right.
Want a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second.
Thank you. All right.
Foster, aye.
The Waffle, aye.
Blake, aye.
Dobson, I.
All right. Meeting
Thank you,
adjourned
everyone.
at 9:45.
All
Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
everybody.
Excellent.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
You
Have a
too,
good day.
bye.
Bye.